Guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to talk about the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot review. The game was real good. I had a blast playing it. The problem, there was a few problems with it, and we'll get into that more detail. But I feel like going into the new year, you got all the new releases coming out. You got the new consoles coming out. I was expecting something more. I was expecting something I never really seen before, and to be honest, that's kind of not like what we got. It's probably the best looking Dragon Ball. Don't get me wrong, it's the best looking Dragon Ball Z game or anime game ever, probably. I mean, that's gonna get a lot of heat, but in my opinion, and this is my opinion, that's how I feel about it. I think it is. I had a blast playing it, but there was a few things, minor touches they could have did. So I'm gonna towards the end of the video, I'm gonna go with my pros and the cons that I had going into the video. And but I'm just picking out. I picked out some of the best parts of the game, and then I picked out some of the worst parts. So I'm just gonna get right into it. The story felt really nostalgic. Like if you big anime fan, you love Dragon Ball Z, the game does a good job of making you feel that nostalgia or whatever, however you want to say it. Like, it makes you feel like, man, can't believe this, I'm playing Dragon Ball Z. Can't believe it. Especially if you haven't played a Dragon Ball Z game in a while. If you bought Fighters and you haven't played Fighters and just coming back to a Dragon Ball Z game, you're gonna absolutely love it. But still, a lot of problems with it. The soundtrack on the game, it wasn't too good. I felt like with Fighters had an amazing soundtrack, and you guys know, if you guys watch one of my older Funko Pop unboxing videos, I did use one of the songs in the soundtrack of Fighter Z. I did use them in one of my videos. It was just like in Fighter Z, it was that dun 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 dun. Every time you ran into like a bigger enemy, it's like you run into Frieza, you run into Cell, you had this epic music just coming in. And with Kakarot, I think it falls short of the thing. It's when you run into Frieza, it's like, here's Frieza, but it has the background music playing, but it's just like the normal music that's playing the whole time during the whole cutscene or whatever. It's not like this epic music coming in when you see this epic boss, this epic boss coming in like Frieza. And I think that's where it kind of falls short with me. I do love the fact that sometimes you have switching characters, so you're not always playing as Goku. So just like the anime where Goku dies, you're playing as Gohan, and you're switching between Gohan, Piccolo, and then you get it. And when you get to Planet Namek, you're playing as Vegeta. And that's, by the way, this is the non-spoiling part, because I'm not talking about things that has already been shown off already. So you could go watch the launch trailer for the launch trailer, and then there's a trailer out for Vegeta. So you already know that Vegeta's in the game. You already know that he turns into Majin Vegeta in the Buu arc. So that's not spoilery. So, but I do love the fact that they are switching off characters like that. One of the worst parts, and this is probably one of my biggest cons in the game, is when you're doing a blast, like you're doing the Kamehameha, the enemy could still, especially if the enemy powers up, because sometimes what the enemy does, the computer, or the AI, or whatever you want to call it, when they power up, they normally, after the power up, they come with a straight instant attack. So if I'm hitting him, I'm like in the middle of my 4-hit combo. Um, he when he finished the power up, he immediately goes into the attack, and I'm still doing my combo. So it's like it doesn't even cancel it. It just the AI just immediately goes in straight to his attack, and it's just an instant counter attack. And sometimes it could be used to get hit, like you could get hit with 9,000 damage points, and it's like, man, I'm in the middle of the combo. I started the combo before the AI did the power up, and that was a huge issue with playing this game, and it was kind of pissing me off because it's like, man, what the hell? Like I'm like I did the combo first. How are you attacking me? I believe Jump Force had that issue too, where like you're in the middle of the combo and people could just automatically hit you. They were countering. There was I don't want to get into Jump Force, but with Bandai, that's like a big issue. I just don't understand it. Let me see. Another one I could think of is the controls. At first, when the controls first started, when you first boot the game up, there's a menu that pops up. It just shows you all of the controls of how you play the game. At the first glance of reading it, and this happens with most games. Most games when you play it the first time, you happen to reading it, you're like, whoa, this is way too much. But then when the game starts advancing, you just get the hang of it. So I didn't have a problems with the controls, but for people, especially if you played like previous Dragon Ball Z games, if this is your first time going into Kakarot, you're probably gonna have major issues learning all the controls at first. But then after a while, you finally start to get the hang of it, and it's not that bad. It gets real good. Some textures, I was having problems with, like, some like grass. I was having problems with the grass. The grass looks horrible, but that's most games, especially anime games. The grass doesn't look like grass. And then we got those pictures of Ghost of Tsushima with that type of grass. It's just some companies aren't ready for grass, but that's a little minor thing anybody could um, throw out or whatever. Uh, I do have a problem where I'm not sure if it was just me running into it, but I was having a problem with doubles. So there was a few times where I would just see a random Goku, a random Piccolo, especially with starting new because in the game it goes by so when the arc starts it goes by the episodes. So with newer episodes will come in, if there was already a character like Piccolo, even though I have Piccolo on my my party, I would still see another Piccolo inside the world, just standing right there, especially standing by the main story, which was kind of weird to see doubles. um it was kind of like a minor issue, but it was just weird to just see that. Um, the fishing, I mean, the side activities. So let's get into the side activities with the mini games. So the mini games was okay. Um, there's things like so let's talk about the world before I talk about the mini games. The world it's a big world. You could hop in certain points and certain maps or whatever, and the world is big. But the problem with the world is that there's really nothing to do besides flying, collecting Z coins, Zenny. So besides that, there's really nothing to do. There's a few mini games. There's about three. There's fishing. There's racing, and I don't remember the other one. I do have it marked down. Uh, yeah, it was just fishing and racing are like the two mini games in the game, and it's like that's not enough. It's just like, okay, you could fish. So what you do? You get this wheel. It goes. It's like if you ever play Madden, is when you're doing the or it's like WWE 2K when you're doing the tap out. You try to get it in the little the little square or whatever, or there's like a meter goes by, you try to get, there's like a red part of the meter, you try to press the button in the meter, and then that makes the fish jump, and then a circle slowly slows, and that's your timing of trying to catch the actual fish, which is it's pretty cool because you know the fishes could get big, but besides that, there's nothing really to it. And then racing, it's like, okay, cool. I do like the fact that that when you try to go race with your Gohan, and you try to go race, the guy tells you, "Hey man, come back when you're a little older." I thought that was funny, but like I said, there's not really too much to do besides that. I mean, there's cool races, just like there's the cars, and there's this machine, kind of like a Metal Gear Walker. You use that where you race, you jump, and it's a pretty cool. But besides that, there's really nothing to do besides, especially if you're pretty much done. Um, the enemy types in the game is just probably two main AIs. It's the robots, and then the Frieza Force. But it's just like when it comes down to just running into encountering random AIs, there's not really that much, you know, characters in the game. It's really small, so I think that got kind of repetitive real quick, and they're constantly chasing you all the time. So no matter what you do, you could always run into them, no matter who it is. You know, especially early on in the game, you know, constantly trying to do things, looking for crystals or whatever, or the Zenny coins, and you're constantly getting chased by these random AIs, enemy types, and it got pretty boring, got real repetitive. Like I said, there's three main types. I mean, there's robots, but there's like smaller ones. There's like the healer, and then, you know, and it's just like the whatever. It was just real boring. I got tired of that real quick. I do love the fact, and this was one of the coolest things I liked about the game. I do like the fact that they did eventually on into the story. It could be a spoiler. Yeah, I'm just gonna announce a couple spoilers. No, you know, I'm just gonna save that. Just get a few more things out the way, and then I'm gonna get into the spoiler section, and then let's see, the cutscenes. The cutscenes were pretty cool. I did love the fact that no. So one of the things I really hated about the game was and hate's a powerful word, but I really hated the cuts, the build up to some of the cutscenes, like during the episodes. To me, it was the worst part of the game, because it's like, if you guys ever watched the anime, you guys would know that like a lot of people give Dragon Ball Z crap for this, because they're like, man, sometimes Dragon Ball Z has filler episodes, and you could definitely see, I at least me, I could definitely see why people complain about Dragon Ball Z, and why a lot of people say it's overrated. The same thing with Naruto. It's like they're constantly. It's like, okay, we're gonna build this up, and then like for instance, Goku fighting Jiren. That took forever. You're like, you're just sitting there already 3 episodes in. Like, when are you gonna fight Jiren? And that was the problem with Dragon Ball Z. This game does the opposite. It like just throws you in. I kind of like what I said earlier. It's like, hey, here's this guy. There's like really no, like, for instance, like, this is not a spoiler. You should know this already. The Ginyu Force showing up. Boom. I remember the manga perfectly, because when the Ginyu Force showed up, it was build up to that. It was like, man, oh my god, here's Frieza's private little military force. They're coming in. Vegeta being scared and nervous or whatever, and they're building up to it. And then, a slow cutscene of them flying in or whatever. And to me, I believe they had that, but it was like right scene after scene after scene. It was like so fast that they're like they finally showed up as like whew, they're right there in front of your face. It didn't feel as it felt like watching the manga. It's like, man, or watching the anime. It's like, man, you felt that, you wanted to see that. There's another part where I want to talk about. Oh, you know what? Like I said, it's not spoilers if you've seen the manga. If you haven't seen the anime, just pause it and pause the video and go watch the anime. And if you're watching this review, you should know about the anime, anyways. But like for instance, like Chatsu dying, or my favorite Yamcha. When Yamcha died, there was build up to that. There was tension. It was supposed to make you feel sad when they died. And in this video game in Kakarot, it didn't make you feel sad at all. You already knew what was gonna happen. It's like, boom, he's dead. Okay, next scene, bam, like right into it. So there was like no build up for anything. And then, like I said earlier with the soundtrack, it was like the soundtrack didn't help it out either. It was just kind of off. Then there were some parts, like some cutscenes, to where like Frieza doing a blast or whatever. The textures on it didn't really look too good. So it was just like minor things like that, which I wish they could have fixed it. But hey, it's fine with me. So I'm just gonna get right into the pros and the cons. So to me, some of the pros were what I loved in the game was when Goku does his transition. So when he transitions from the first time where he transitioned into Super Saiyan, to me that was the best part of the game, because you felt like a badass when you were hitting Frieza. You were just boom, you're hitting him for 9,000 damage points. It felt badass. Then they had this thing where it's called a super move, and this is before even Goku. When you were Gohan and Piccolo, when you were fighting Raditz, they had this super move where you build it up. Where you got to do damage first, then it will pop up, and then it cuts into the super cool cutscene where they all just boom, 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 where they're working together, and then finally all like both of them, or I believe 3 of them, because of Krillin, all 3 of them came in for a huge blast and blasted Raditz away. I thought that was the best part of the game. And it doesn't have it all the time. It only happens with the most iconic scenes, which I thought was the best part of the game. Like I said, Goku, when I fought Frieza, he blasted him, and it had this cool little cutscene where he made Frieza fly out of the planet. I thought it was an amazing little cutscene that they did. Super cool. I do love, so remember guys, this is spoiler section. So I do love the fact that that you get to use the Dragon Balls. I always wanted the game where you could actually use the Dragon Balls, and not like, hey, like a little cutscene, okay, here's the Dragon Balls, you use it or whatever. You could actually use the first you got to find the Dragon Balls, which is not hard because they're actually on your map. You could actually see them. So I thought it was pretty cool. And then there's trophies for, if you're playing on PlayStation or Xbox, you get the achievements, but there's trophies where you can actually use the Dragon Balls for probably 5-10 times, and you get the trophies. So it was kind of a pro and then a con with using the Dragon Balls, because you could use the Dragon Balls, which I thought was pretty cool. You could ask for like Zenny, you could ask for what else? It's like rare items. But then the cons was like that was the cons. It was like, that's it. The coolest, I mean, not the coolest ones, but it was like you could use the Dragon Balls to bring back dead fighters just to fight them again. And I thought I was like, oh, that's not cool at all. It's like, okay, cool. Like the Ginyu Force, you kill Raditz and Nampa. I thought there was a few things they could have probably did was like unlock another thing too, which I wish, which is another con, is to me customization. I really thought, I wanted to make this badass suit, just like if you're playing fighters or whatever, you could change the colors of Goku or any fighter that you're using. There's none of that. You're just using their normal, iconic uniform, and it's okay at the end of the day. But I really thought, it would have been cooler if I could customize some of the characters I was using. But like I said, it was just I'm just sticking to the game, so or to the anime. So that was a um, couple pros and cons. As you guys are wondering where I'm looking down some of the notes I marked down because there were just so much I wanted to put in. Like I said, I said this before, like my review is not going to be as professional as most people, just me giving my honest, brutal thoughts about it. I talked about ultimate moves, collectibles. So sometimes when you would see collectibles in the world, there would be like little flashbacks. There was some Pacific orb that where it would just oh, you know what, yeah, so I'm just gonna get right. There was some Pacific orb that would do like a flashback of some of the scenes, random scenes that they didn't add to the game. So it was mostly from Dragon Ball, and that was one of my cons, was because when I first thought we were getting into the Kakarot series, I really thought we were going to start from Dragon Ball and then work our way up. So instead of them starting from Dragon Ball, they hopped straight into Dragon Ball Z. So that was kind of like my con. Like I said, I want to start off as young Son Goku and then work the way up, and then I don't know what I thought, but I really thought we're gonna get something different. But it was just the normal same story that we get all the time. And like I said, picking up the orbs was pretty cool. Got these little flashbacks, and the flashbacks was just images. There weren't actual video of what was going on. Um, like I said, I mentioned some of the glitches with the stuttering and a couple cutscenes. It only stuttered when it started, but not like during the cutscene, was I thought was okay. Uh, the campfire, so going around, there's a few things they want you to do. So if you want to like regain your health without using items in the game, you go to the campfire and you could rest or make a meal, which I thought was kind of like boring because it's like, okay, like especially I really thought like you could have like, if you're traveling with a party, you could sit there. I thought it'd been cool if they would have add like conversations, kind of like Red Dead. Like I said, that's the type of idea I thought we're gonna get from this game. But what I expect is Bandai. No disrespect, Bandai, but that's the type of game that I thought we were gonna get. But anyway, so I thought we were gonna get like them sitting in a campfire, making the fish or whatever you caught, and them telling their like crazy story or whatever. But it's just like pretty like plain when it comes down to the campfire. It's just them sitting right there. You make the meal, you eat, and you get the status effects, and then that's it really. Nothing much to the campfires. Also, this game wants you to eat a lot. Everything is about eating. I mean, there's constantly there when you talk to Chi Chi, she makes you something to eat. um like I said, you get all these collectibles when you're doing all this thing. The hunting is mostly eating. This, like I said, I don't know what they were trying to take shots, calling people fat or whatever, but that I guess it stays true to any anime, because if you watch any anime, all the young kids are hungry. They're always eating on something. There's ramen noodles or whatever. So, you know, um, another thing too is the side missions. So the side missions were kind of sucky, and those things got so repetitive real quick. It got to the point where I was just pressing fast forward because the side missions wasn't fun at all. During the side missions too, like the characters, even though there was text bars, they were just grunting. So they'll say like one word, ha, yeah, hu, ha, and that was really annoying. I got real fed up with it so fast. I hated the side missions. It's like, man, and they weren't even as fun. It was more of a, like every other game was just more of a, hey, go get this, come back, give me that. So it was kind of a fetch side missions. I really, really did not like that. Um, and then like leveling up was kind of too grindy. So I mean, it was okay, but it was like sometimes you gotta go out there constantly collect orbs because sometimes there's orbs. Like I said, there's orbs everywhere. You're spending most of your time just running around collecting things. So orbs is not, it's not nothing to worry about. It's not like they're hard to find, but it just took too much time just running around because sometimes you want to level up your character. Sometimes the orbs cost like 1,000, so you just gotta go around collecting all these orbs and just constantly just flying, and it's the same music just going on. It gets boring real fast. So that was a huge con that I had. But that's all I got. That's all I got for that. Overall, I do like the game. I thought the game was just amazing. Like I said, I was expecting a little bit more, but it was a good way to start out 2020. I thought it was okay game. If I could change one thing about it, it would probably be customization. I really would love them to customize. Um, if we could get customization in the game, but that's already out of it. There's no way they're gonna do that. Um, so the only thing left right now is probably just wait until the new arcs come out. I believe they got 2 DLC arcs, so we just gotta wait for that. But overall, I give this game, if I'm doing this 1 out of 10, I give it a solid 8. I was thinking about giving it a 7, but I'll give it an 8 because at the end of the day, I still had a blast playing it. I had a real good time. Like I said, there was a few cons that kind of like threw the game off for me, but other than that, I just had a blast playing it. And I highly recommend it if you guys are really into anime. You guys love Dragon Ball Z. If you haven't already picked it up, you're kind of like on the side, just like thinking about whether you should pick it up or not. I still think you should pick it up and give it a shot. I think you're gonna have a good time because at the end of the day, even though with all like the cons, I still think that anybody who picks it up is gonna have a blast playing it. It's just gonna feel nostalgic, especially if you love the Dragon Ball Z franchise. It just feels nostalgic. So, highly recommend picking it up. Like I said, gonna give it a solid 8. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I do got a special video coming out where I'm gonna talk about. I'm just gonna do the announcement right now, where I'm gonna just talk about MOB 20 and just not a review, but kind of similar to this, where I just want to just give what are a few things that's gonna help me purchase MOB 20 because this is gonna be probably the first year I probably had since 2014, 2015, where I'm probably not gonna purchase MLB 20 if I could get to certain details. If they like switch a lot of things, but I'll get it more in depth into that video. So be prepared for that video around Wednesday or Thursday. So, but like I said, guys, hope you guys have a wonderful day and see you guys later.